Hi, this is Steve Damaris with the Mississippi State University Deer Lab. I'm happy to be with you today talking more about our exciting results from our buck movement study in central Mississippi. We wanted to look at these buck movements in the context that was translatable to you and your hunting efforts. You go out and hunt during a day, and you know where you've been and what you do. We thought it would be interesting to show you what adult bucks are doing during those same daily activity patterns, and in particular a 24-hour period. There's a couple different ways we could measure these movements of bucks, one of which is called the total path length. This total path length is the sum of the distances between successive locations during a day. Now, in this simplistic figure, we show a deer at 4 different times, time 1, time 2, time 3, and time 4, and we show him moving between T1 and T2. He moves 70 yards. Between 2 and 3, he moves 100 yards, and then 30 yards between T3 and T4 for a total movement of 200 yards. But he ends up in a different location at time 4 than he was at time 1, and that's what we call net displacement. Let's look at an example of one buck and his daily movements across a 24-hour period in October, and compare that to how he's moving during the peak of the rut. So here we see he's moving at 1 o'clock in the morning, and look, he crosses that food plot and then goes down and goes into another food plot still in the morning, and he's down into that ag field, and then by 6 o'clock in the morning he's gone back into the woods after having been carousing and looking into the food plots, and then you see him bedding down, and there's a big cluster of blue dots. That's basically his daytime bedding area, and you'll see that he spends most of the day in that, and then starts moving again late afternoon, but still within that wooded area. It's not until late in the evening after sunset that he makes any more extensive movements, and then he heads down and hits that field again. Now here's the same buck during December 30th, during the peak of the rut. And you see here his movements overall are much greater in extent, and he has a short bedding area, bedding time period, and he's moving around. You notice he cuts through a couple of food plots in the middle of the day in this case, and he ends up moving widely across that daytime home range, much more you might call erratically, but he has a mission in mind. He's looking for breeding does. Still is very active throughout the day here. During the peak of the rut, you're going to see bucks covering more area, but they're also going to be moving more during the day, and that's when you have the best chance of seeing them, during the peak of the rut or just prior to the peak of the rut. So our adult buck study shows that adult bucks in Mississippi have a much greater home range and movement rate during the rut period than they do during archery season or in October. And these results can help you be a more effective hunter, because now you know, don't just expect that buck to go back to his normal bedroom at the end of the day. He's going to be somewhere else, probably significantly different from where you thought he was going to be at the end of the day. But he will come back to those bedding areas. He'll use those same bedding areas, but not always the same bedding area each day.